Today, on April 3rd, we commemorate Venerable Nicetas the Confessor, abbot of Medikion, Venerable Jacob, Bishop of Catania, Venerable Seraphim of Viritsa, Saint Cyril, Bishop of Catania, Saint Thomas, Patriarch of Constantinople, Hieromartyr Vladimir Vvedensky, priest. The life of Venerable Seraphim of Vyritsa. Basil Muravyov, the future Saint Seraphim, was born in 1865 in the town of Chermovsky in the Yaroslav province. His parents, Nicholas and Shion, were peasants. When Basil was 10 years old, his father died, and he was left to care for his ailing mother and his sister Olga. A kind neighbor took Basil with him to St. Petersburg and found him a job as a store clerk. The boy had a secret desire to become a monk, so one day he went to the St. Alexander Nevsky Lavra to speak to one of the elders about this. The elder advised him to remain in the world and raise a family. Then, after the children had grown, he and his wife were to serve God in a monastic life. Basil accepted these words as the will of God, and so he lived his life as the elder had directed. Returning to the store, Basil continued to work and send money home to his family. When he was 24 years old, Basil married his wife Olga. He started his own business as a furrier and became very wealthy. He had a son, Nicholas, and a daughter, Olga. After their daughter's death, Basil and his wife agreed to live together as brother and sister from that time forward. When he was around 30, Basil gave away most of his wealth, donating money to various monasteries. When Nicholas was grown, Basil and Olga went to monasteries to serve God. Olga was tonsured in 1919 with the name Christina and lived in the Resurrection New Devyeva Monastery in St. Petersburg. Later, she was tonsured into the schema and was given the name Seraphima. She died in 1945. We do not know where Basil received monastic tonsure. Some say it was on Mountain Athos, nor the new name he was given at that time. In 1927, he arrived at the St. Alexander Nevsky Lavra, where he became Father Confessor to the monks. There he was tonsured into the schema with the name Seraphim. Soon it became apparent that Saint Seraphim had received from God the gifts of clairvoyance and healing, and many people came to him seeking his help and advice. Bishop Alexei Skimansky of Novgorod came to the elder in 1927 to ask if he should leave Russia, since many bishops and priests were facing arrest and execution under the communist yoke. Before the bishop could utter a word, Saint Seraphim said, "Many now wish to leave Russia, but there is nothing to fear. You are needed here. You will become Patriarch and will rule for 25 years." A time of trial came for the Lavra. Monks were arrested, exiled, and sent to labor camps. Many of them were executed. Beginning in 1929, the elder was arrested 14 times. He continued his priestly ministry in the prison camp, where he strengthened and encouraged his fellow prisoners. In 1933, the elder returned from the camps and settled in Viritsa. This was a very beautiful place, with forests and a river, and it was known for its healthy climate. Saint Seraphim's health had deteriorated in the prison camps, and he had been beaten many times. A wooden church in honor of the Kazan icon of the Most Holy Theotokos had been built in Viritsa in 1913 to commemorate the 300th anniversary of the Romanov dynasty. The upper church had two altars, one dedicated to the Kazan icon and the other to Saint Nicholas. The lower church was dedicated to Saint Seraphim of Sarov. After he had recovered somewhat, Father Seraphim began to receive visitors who came seeking advice and comfort from him. Many of those afflicted with illness received healing by his prayers. The authorities soon noticed the great numbers of people who came to him. His cell was searched many times, usually at night. Once, the police came to arrest the elder, but the doctor told them that Father Seraphim would not survive the trip because of his many infirmities. They decided to leave him alone, and so the Lord preserved the life of his servant. The Germans entered Veritsa in September of 1941, but no one was harmed, and there was no looting. During the war, Father Seraphim became weak and now served only rarely in the chapel of Saint Seraphim. Starting in 1945, Father Alexei Kibardin began serving in the Kazan church. By the spring of 1949, Saint Seraphim was very weak and had to remain in bed. Still, he permitted visitors to come to him as before. Shortly before his death, the Most Holy Theotokos appeared to Saint Seraphim and told him to receive Holy Communion every day. Father Alexei Kibarin would bring him communion at 2 a.m., but once he overslept and did not come until 4 a.m. He apologized to the elder for his tardiness and noticed that there was a certain radiance around the saint. The elder said, "Father, do not worry. The holy angels have already brought me communion." Seeing his face, Father Alexei knew that this was absolutely true. The elder told Father Alexei to go to Moscow and inform Patriarch Alexei I that he would depart to the Lord in 2 weeks. When Father Alexei relayed the message, the Patriarch turned to the holy icons and crossed himself. When he turned around again, tears were streaming down his cheeks. "I have been Patriarch for 4 years," he said. 21 years remain to me. This is what the holy elder told me. Patriarch Alexei died in 1970, just as Saint Seraphim foretold. Saint Seraphim departed to the Lord on March 21, 1949, April 3rd, New Style. In the hours before his death, he asked that a cathist to the Most Holy Theotokos, to Saint Seraphim of Sarov, and to Saint Nicholas be read. For a week after his blessed repose, a sweet fragrance permeated Vyritsa. Saint Seraphim was buried in the cemetery next to the church of the Kazan icon in the Vyritsa. Great throngs of people came for the funeral, and Vyritsa became a place of pilgrimage. The Skiman monk, Saint Seraphim, was glorified by the Church of Russia in August of 2000.